Okay. So can I have someone open us up? Prayer for this.
Mine is a little different. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to join together. We ask that you have our eyes open to listen, to understand. We ask that you bless this meeting, bring out of it what we need, serve those that are in need. And we thank you for allowing us to come here together. We ask that you regarding and protecting the promise. Amen.
Amen. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I have with us Joe Matthews. He is Koya and a descendant of the Morongo band of Mission Indians who worked over 7 years with Morongo Tribal, TANF, and he is an accomplished speaker who has presented at the RSCBIHI Family Wellness Conferences and Together as Native Families Conference in Southern California, the Dream, the Impossible Native Youth Conference, and NAFFA's Fatherhood as Leadership Conference, along with presenting at conferences. He has over 10 years of experience as a youth leader and mentor, and he now brings his passion for the community and growth to Riverside County's Housing and Workforce Solutions Department. As an employer services consultant, his primary task is assisting businesses with recruiting efforts and on-the-job training within the county. So I'm going to turn it over to him so that he can share with us what his organization stands for and does, so that maybe we can match agendas.
Thank you, man. That was a great introduction. I got that wrong.
You got it really good.
I threw that softball up there. I knew he was going to swing at it. So, all right, everybody. Like you said, my name is Joe Matthews. I'm with Riverside County Workforce Development and Employer Services Consultant. So essentially, I work directly with employers to help them with recruiting efforts. I'm stationed out of the Workforce Development Center right down State Street on State and Menlo, where we are hosting a job fair. We have a monthly job fair. This month, we moved it up to June 20th, but normally it's the last Tuesday of the month. This month is a job and resource fair. So if you know anyone interested, looking for work, or an employer looking for employees, have them come by. We've been getting over 70 people showing up to our job fairs, which is great for Hemet, because when I first started, we would get 18 people. So it's taken some hard work, but we're getting 70, and I'll take that. So we help with recruiting assistance, and one of the main programs we have for businesses, though, on the job training. And essentially what that is that is a hiring incentive. So when somebody's bringing on a new employee full time, so 32 hours a week, and they're going to be paying them above minimum wage, then we will reimburse that employer 50% of the employee's salary for up to 480 hours of employment. So if they're working 40 hours a week, at the end of 12 weeks, we would collect their pay stubs or payroll summary. And then based off of that, reimburse 50% of that amount. So if you're paying somebody $20 an hour, at the end of 3 months, you could be getting $4,800 back to your company. Now, all the company needs to qualify is have a valid state employer ID, federal employer ID, and a valid workers' compensation insurance. And when you have those three things, your business is eligible for the on-the-job training program. Now, I know we talked about how can we partner with this with the homeless program. Well, in order for the applicant or the employee to qualify, they have to be considered low income or unemployed, or even a transitioning veteran. So if you have somebody who's coming out of the military, we can help them get to work. So,
Sorry.
no.
I will fix this here as soon as I see what I'm doing. Kevin, can you mute yourself?
You're gonna
No,
print
it's all right.
something.
I'm gonna do something. Okay, hang on. I'm doing this upside down. There.
Okay.
Also, please mute Mark as well, even though he's quiet.
Okay, Mark, be quiet. Felicity wants you quiet. Okay, we're good.
All right. So in order for someone to qualify, they have to be unemployed, underemployed, low income. So they're not all of them together, but they have to meet one of those categories. And if somebody's homeless, we're going to just assume, we can pretty much, they're going to qualify because they're homeless. They're going to be considered low income. And doing that, we can, approach a company like we actually did in Banning, because in the city of Banning, they have the homeless town, or the I forgot what they call it. They have a nickname for it over there. But they do have a homeless bucket. Yeah, with the tiny homes on the, unfortunately, yeah. But we do have the homeless living in like the little tiny home community that Banning built. And I was able to work with one of the employers and then a nonprofit up there, Faith in Action. And the employer is actually hiring the homeless person, and he's utilizing our program because, like the risk, it takes a lot of the risk off of them, because we are, reimbursing half the salary. So even if the person only works for 2 weeks, the employer is still getting, a portion of his salary back. So it's an incentive for the business to hire new employees. It's an incentive for the business to train them, because the main goal, the real purpose of this is for businesses to hire and train employees, people who don't necessarily have skills, so we can upskill the employees, which creates a stronger workforce. So say when they leave that company, they have skills to, progress in their career. So we're incentivizing employers to hire employees, to train employees, but also hoping that through that, the employees are loyal to the employers because they took a chance on them. So it's kind of that circular, hey, we're going to help you out, but then hoping you're faithful to us by sticking with us for the long term. And that's one of the main programs we have. We're looking at homeless people. That's the main program that would be able to benefit the employers and the homeless community. Population. That's the word.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, the unhoused. Yes, I just heard that the other day. The unhoused. Yeah. Yes. I do see a hand raised. Do we have a question? Professor.
Felicity, did you have a question?
Yes, I wasn't sure if I could, but anyway, hello and very, very welcome. Lovely meeting you. I work for Southwestern Community College, but this is an ongoing issue with all the part-timers. They don't get, nowadays they're starting, but I don't know if it is in all the community colleges, and I know it has kind of sort of nothing to do with you, but I thought you could, be an advocate to help them out, because the part-timers don't get any prep time. And unfortunately, it actually happened at Southwestern College a few years back. The dean hired a medical doctor to do a nurse's job. So that means a lot of money was pulled out to pay this gentleman or lady, whoever that was, still with us. Don't want to mention anybody's name, where they could actually hire 2 people with only master's degree to do his or her job. Now, what happens to the part-timers? They don't get paid any prep. They don't get paid for anything, and every single time, for example, during the spring and Thanksgiving, that week that nobody is off, they don't get paid, and the EDD doesn't want to pay them. And every time they want to go back on EDD is going to cut off 1 week of their salary or wages, and that is not right. They're all very educated, minimum of bachelor's degree, but mostly have a couple of masters, PhDs, and so forth. What can people like you do? If you say nothing, that's perfectly fine.
And does this have anything to do with what you're presenting?
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
It's well, the question, is, it sounds like you're asking. Sorry, my phone's ringing. My wrist is vibrating. Sorry. So it sounds like you're asking, like, what can we do for the people who aren't full-time employees, the ones who are possibly part-time, Unfortunately, we're not a part of EDD. There's not really much that my department, workforce development, can do for that. However, if there are people who are nurses and they're looking for work, I would recommend that they do find their local workforce development centers or American Job Centers and connect with them, because these are open to the public, and we have customer career services. What are they called? Career services reps, career counselors. Sorry, it's been a really long day. It's been up since like 6, so way too early. But we have career counselors who they can connect with, who can help point them in the right direction, help connect them with like business services, like my team, because I work with businesses. And if a career counselor sends me resumes, I'll do my best to put those resumes in the hands of employers. Yeah, like just today, somebody walked by and I was like, "Hey, I need 2 Class A drivers. Do you have any?" And they're like, "Actually, yes, I do." So they're sending me their resumes. So that's our goal, is to connect people. So I would recommend that anybody who's in that part-time position, like the people you were talking about, to connect with our America Job Centers, AJCCs, or workforce development centers, and we can help them out, or at least point them in the right direction for permanent placements, not just a part-time or temporary position.
So the nurses.
And
Thank
the
you
nurses.
so very much.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
There you
we
go.
all know about these things, but I was just wondering if, anyone in your company or whoever you work with could possibly eventually get into, kind of waking up the EDD, because that's not right. And just,
Unfortunately,
just a
no.
suggestion,
Felicity,
I
just,
understand. Thank you.
just to clarify, Joe is with Riverside County Workforce Development and
I
EDD
understand.
straight California, and they're whole 2 different worlds.
I understand. I was just hoping
know.
that he would stand up or get to see someone to stand up. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Felicity. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I mean, essentially, and then the other thing that we offer is, as I said, we engage in our business solutions, so we work directly with businesses. Whereas our workforce development centers have the career coaches or the career counselors, where if they are homeless, they can come into our center, or they don't have to be homeless, be anybody in the public. There are resources available to anybody, but they would be able to come in, work with our career counselors. They would have to fill out a WheelWheel application, just an easy application to fill out, and provide some documentation. And we would be able to help them with services. So say you had a person who maybe they're living in a shelter or something, and they decide they need to go to school, or they want to actually go to school and get a certification. Well, our workforce development centers, our services department offers training vouchers. So they offer up to an $8,000 training incentive for school, or to send people to schools. So depending on the college, the trade school they go to, they could actually go with no money out of their pocket, because I know one college, UEI, used to do this, and I only say it because I used to work there and I know how they work. But say UEI's electricians program is $20,000. Well, if they're coming from an AJCC, they give them a $10,000 scholarship, just right off the top. So now it's $10,000. So then if the person is eligible for FAFSA, and they can get the full, $4,600, $4,800, or $5,600 from FAFSA, that would go towards the schooling. And then the AJCC would pay the remaining, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. And then that way, that person can actually go to school and receive this training with no money out of pocket. And then there's a possibility through our AJCC, through other parts of the county, of getting supportive services like bus vouchers, or different things like that to get them to school. And all of these programs are literally 3 miles, 4 miles down the road, are available to the community. Yes. Yes.
Maybe I would go like before that. Yes.
How many, what kind of interaction can you do with those who are mentally ill, but still they're able to do a certain amount of kind of work? Sometimes they're on, like disability,
Right.
but it's not enough to live on.
Right.
How does that, can that prevent children? Because since so many homeless homes,
Right. Well, we unfortunately, like our department doesn't have anything specifically designed for somebody who's like mentally ill or mentally challenged. But there are, I don't know if I would say Department of Rehabilitation maybe would be able to work with them.
Yeah, so the county had a lot.
Yeah. I'm like looking at Jason because he has a little more experience on that one than I do.
Yeah, and uh, give you a referral. For those of us who have maybe have some mental, you have, and when you talk about mental illness, it's such a spectrum. Right?
it is.
Sometimes our mind takes it to the very worst.
Yeah, and also to
But we
the,
can,
just mild.
yeah, so we can, there's definitely service that can help those who may be on that element. They're still functioning. We're not doctors, we're not therapists. We have, but there's obviously big county. We can't help you directly find some.
Yeah. That's the main thing I say. Like if I can't help you, we'll find the person who can point you in that direction.
I have a question regarding the incentive
Uh-huh.
for where you will pay up to half the salary for 480 hours. Do they need to be hired at full time or can it be part time?
It has to be full time.
Okay,
So 32 hours, but we consider 32
32.
hours
32
full time.
plus.
Yes.
Thank you. That's important for people who know people who are running companies. It's very important to know that kind of thing. That's available. Okay. But
That's for,
now,
No, that just across the board. The only industries that we really don't work with are restaurants and hotels. Just because like servers and those positions, there's really high turnover, and it's really not there's really not a career path for a busboy or a server or like a custodian. Well, not custodian, but like a room. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Housekeeping at a hotel. Thank you. Like,
Yeah.
And it's better funded. We could have been.
Mm.
You know, it's big.
really, yeah.
right,
Believe me, I get asked a lot, and like that's one industry we can't touch is,
Sure.
is cannabis in it.
that makes sense.
Yeah. But you know, there are exceptions because like at a restaurant, say you're hiring a manager, like an actual restaurant manager. Well, that isn't a server. So we can, in the sense, work with a restaurant if they're hiring a manager or like a front end supervisor, because that there's a career path behind that, you know, where they could grow, get more skills. And so even though we say no, there still might be a yes in there somewhere.
Well,
Banking,
Yeah, I mean, if a bank came to us wanting to do an OJT program, we could work with it.
how about like financial person?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, our finance. So we teach. Right. I was just as far as OJTs, they have to be an hourly employee, so we don't do like anything that's base commission and commission-based positions. So they would have to be an actual hourly W-2, not a 1099 employee.
Okay.
No 1099. Because this comes out of this program's funded through like employer taxes and stuff. So yeah, we have to. Yeah.
Also, going along with your question, full time. Also, no cap to the amount, the wage.
Yes.
But the higher you get, the higher.
Sure.
Then there's no cap to the number. Better. 20 people higher. All at once, so good. Do our best.
Really, excellent.
It is.
Why, but I see.
Training. Companies, where,
Yeah, I mean, what I'm doing right now, if there's a spot for me to speak and share, work development, I'll be there. Like, that's probably why we're so tired, because me and Jason travel around the county doing this. But like yesterday morning, I was in Marietta with a group of like 30 businesses, and we went through and I, explained on the job training and all the programs we do. We go to a lot of Chamber of Commerce meetings. We do, if any business calls us, we're going to show up and try to educate them the best we can, or do a meeting with them. Because this is a great program. It benefits the county. So, the more people know about it, the more it helps.
What about the decision?
Yeah.
As a professional.
Okay. No, I mean, have coffee, we'll travel. Coffee just makes me happy when I get.
There you go.
But
Coffee and water.
if any organization contacts us and wants information, we're happy to share it. If it's as simple as an email with just our pamphlets and our flyers, or if we come and sit down and share it with them, or if I'm, we're standing on stage doing a giant, everybody, we're here to share the information. Just preferably not 6 in the morning.
I don't believe in such a thing. It's against my.
Yeah, 7 in the morning is tough enough, but 6 would be, that's- yeah.
All right.
5 o'clock, no matter what time I was ever getting.
Well, sounds like that'll be at 4:35.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're starting.
Yep.
But then I'm through.
By Salem.
Yes.
All right. Do you guys have any other questions? Anyone on it? I hope I covered it as as good as possible.
too many flyers or?
Hi,
Go ahead.
okay, hi, this is Gina Estrin.
Hi, Gina.
Hi, yeah, I kind of missed the beginning trying to log in. At any rate, number one, you mentioned that you're just down the street. Where are you located in the San Jacinto Hemet area?
We are at the Hemet Workforce Development Center on the corner of State and Menlo.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Catty corner, diagonal from AM/PM.
Okay. Oh, you're in the big county building then?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I haven't seen just a sign workforce. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't know, you may have covered this, but how does an employer list their jobs, or do they have to go through kind of a preview step, and then if you think it works, then you ask them to submit their job offerings?
Well, we can provide services. We can share job postings for any business in Riverside County, or in really any business who wants to advertise in Riverside County to hire people. All they have to do is reach out
Oh,
to
shit.
employer
By
services.
the way, I'm having sound issues too.
Oh.
It's glitching in and out. Oh, you are too, Felicity? Okay. I thought it was just my system.
No, it's because
Okay.
we're having to use the hotspot on my phone. There's no Wi-Fi here. So that's why it's.
Ah. Okay. So can you start your answer all over again?
Yeah. Any business in Riverside County or a business that wants to advertise in Riverside County can just reach out to their local employer services rep, which on the flyer, there's a general email. It's employerservices@rivco.org. And they just reach out and, essentially connect with us, and we can get your job postings, and if they have social media ready flyers, they can send them to us. We will post it in our customer resource areas in every AJCC, as well as share it on our social media channels. But we also have free resources like CalJobs. If a business creates a CalJobs account, they can actually create postings in CalJobs, and that will actually get sent to Indeed, Monster, the job leads. It's like 3 or 4 of the job websites, the job boards. So it'll automatically post it on multiple sites at once, as well as having Riverside County has its own job board called rivcojobs.org. Is it .org or .com? .org? Okay. Yeah, rivcojobs.org, where Riverside County businesses can also create accounts and post their jobs on Rivco Jobs. And it's 100% free. This has already been paid for through tax dollars. So, I always tell businesses you might as well, get your money back and utilize the services you've already paid for. So that's the easiest way to do it. But if a business wants to actually utilize like the on-the-job training or hiring incentives, they have to have a federal employer ID number, a state employer ID number, and a valid workers' compensation insurance policy. And if they have those 3 things, then they'll qualify.
Okay.
And
And then on
just-
the opposite end, job seekers, they can either walk into one of your offices or go online.
Yes.
Okay. And
And-
that's also free for them.
Yep, it's also 100% free for them to go on the Rivco job board. And then if they want to actually go into our physical sites and look at the job that we have posted, they're more than welcome to walk in. And we have a computer lab. They'll do resume classes. There's a lot of things that we offer at the AJC for people who are looking for employment.
I'm sorry to be ignorant, but what was the acronym AJCC
Sorry.
for?
So I work in the county all day, so we just do acronyms all day.
Oh, I know that, but that's why I'm asking. What is it?
It's the American Job Center of California.
Ah,
So
okay. Thank you.
AJCCs or WDCs stands for Workforce Development Center. They're just 2 different names for the same thing.
And just to let everybody know,
Thank you.
I will scan this brochure and I'll post it with the video of this presentation on our website and on Facebook.
Oh, while I'm thinking, I'm sorry, Felicity, if I can kind of go back to your initial questions or whatever about the part-timers and stuff. I basically think you probably need to go to the college,
Can you guys do that in the
board
chat so these
themselves.
gentlemen can go on?
Gina, that's gonna have
What?
to be done separately because that's not part of this discussion. Okay?
Well, I was just trying to answer her question.
Yeah, Arno, just
Okay.
give me a call, Gina.
Yeah, give a
Okay.
call or put it in the chat. Thank you.
So any other questions on workforce development or like our career services or on the job training, employer services? We really do try to make it as easy as possible. I say that working for the government, so you know how that can go. But we really do try to make it as easy as possible to get people in, get people out, and service our clients and our business. Our main goal is you know, we want to build a stronger workforce because you have a strong workforce, you have strong employers, and Riverside County, we want to keep it strong, keep it healthy, and train our employees. That way, you know, if they leave the job, they're leaving for something better, and people are consistently moving up. And that's like the whole focus behind our program. You know, it's just upskilling employees everywhere we can, get them to work. So, oh my gosh. How long's the program been around, Jason?
Oh, man. It's been a while. Been through a couple different laws.
Yeah, I was in 30-something.
Yeah. We always laugh to say it's the best kept secret in the county, but it's been around for, you know, decades.
There's
Yeah.
education or requirements for which you don't require people to have at least a school.
Oh, to participate in our programming? No, honestly, if somebody was going to work, it's really up to the employer to say whether or not, you know, they want to hire the person. Because, you know, sometimes somebody might not have a high school diploma, but yet they're going to be the most intelligent person in the room.
Right.
They just weren't good at school. That wasn't their forte. Yeah. So if the employer wants to hire them, I'm not, you know, whether or not they have a diploma doesn't affect us at all. Yeah, that's really an employer call. I do know some of the schools though, when somebody's going to the trainings, the certification programs, they have to at least get their GED by the time they finish the program. So you'll have somebody doing their GED while they're doing their electrician or HVAC program or LVN, whatever it is, because they have to have a GED. Yeah. And I know a lot of the trade schools will just enroll somebody in the GED program, so they're just doing everything at that school at the same time. And if you guys didn't know, now the GED, you have 1 year to pass.
Oh, really?
So all 3 portions, you can take one, and then you have 12 months from the time you pass the first one to finish the last test.
Wow.
So you can literally focus on one section of the GED at a time. Yes. To our 18. They have to be adults for us. If the employer is willing to hire a 102-year-old, then the employer is willing to hire a 102-year-old. We don't have requirements like that as far as work is concerned. They just have to be an adult. So if they're under 18, we'll send them to our youth opportunity centers like the CFLC places, and then let CFL service them.
You guys support people.
If they are willing to come into our, come to the Workforce Development Center and are seeking help, yeah, we'll assist them. Yeah, well, businesses reach out to us all the time. Like I said, yesterday I was at a meeting where a guy was looking for 2 Class A drivers, and I bumped into a career coach today, and I asked her if she had any Class A's, and she's like, yeah, I have a couple who just graduated. Sending me the resumes, I'm sending them right to the business owner so he can reach out. So we try to have that. Businesses let us know. We let career services know. If career services has people, they can send them to us, and then we just play the middleman.
Those same people.
Let's say this. Find a job. 5 minutes.
And a bachelor.
We don't have
No,
funding
like
to.
If, let's say it's like, how do you?
Yeah.
That's our. Is have to go back. Bachelor. And come back to.
Yeah, I mean anyone's willing or welcome to come into our office and seek job searches. Yeah, we're not helping pay for their bachelor's, but if they get their bachelor's and like, hey, I'm looking to the career field, they can come in and work with our career.
Tammy would like to talk to you all.
I mean, obviously there's requirements, that they have to be WILA eligible, so like underemployed, unemployed. But we'll still provide as much services. Oh yeah, everybody does, believe me. But me personally, if like you were to send me a resume and be like, hey Joe, I met this guy, he's got his bachelor's degree, field. If I have a match, I would be more than happy to send that resume to the employer. But what I ask though is do not give that person my cell phone number because I'm not a career counselor, and I will have somebody calling because people have accidentally done that where they're like, oh yeah, call Joe. He's a guy who's connected to all the businesses. And then my phone's blowing up with somebody who's like, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. But that's not that I don't want to help them, but that doesn't allow me to do what I'm supposed to do. And I have to refer them to the career coach.
Right.
Like you need to talk to them over here. So it's tough, but if you have a resume for somebody you're giving it, that's a little easier because then they can call you 100 times and I'll give you the update.
There you go.
Yeah. Just trying to be honest. But,
I think we do excellent so much. Very good.
Who has a question?
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, when if you come to the job fair, I'll have more flyers and stuff. The 20th? Yeah.
Jason, you're not saying too much.
Finished. But, I mean, I will add that for you guys to call human relations, how think about community. It's made up of people, right? It's not buildings, not things. But we're all here helping, trying to help people. The community live. Want to help that firm. There are services that cover all the different parts of work. That's attraction, really need help with. Even if it's part-time work, have programs, training, programs that can help.
Yes.
I know Malcolm talking homeless. I have there's a program that's different, but we can help them with that. Think about homeless and again, we'll go to the very end of the spectrum. Most barrier. There's a lot of individuals. If they're cost,
Right.
that still is the help.
Yes.
Yeah.
We still have people in here that can't hear you at all.
Yeah, well, we can chat more. Great. Anything else?
Are there any further questions of Joe? You guys online?
All is well.
I have a question.
All is well?
So,
We have a
so
question.
do you have a sense of what kind of defects dollars that you spend? Measuring your
Well, a couple different ways. One, obviously it's all federally and grant funded, so we have to report that to the government. Hey, this is how much of the grant money is spent every year. We'll keep those details with the county. But we also do follow-ups because the goal of our program, say like the on-the-job training, the wage reimbursement, is for that person to be hired permanently. So we will follow up for a year after the OJT contract ends. We'll follow up every quarter after that because the goal is that this person still stays there. And also to see if the employer is just firing people as soon as they get the check. Like, oh, why is it, 90% of the people leave after 5 months because the employer so then we realize that employer is, just abusing the system. Don't want to work with employers. So we have follow-ups, but the goal is that people, they get hired, they stay, and if they leave after a year, or they leave after a certain period of time, we find out why. But sometimes it's, they got a better job. I was here, I got the skills, and then 6 months later, I found a better job. Now I'm making more money, and they were able to move up. So we look at our job placements, how many people we did OJTs with on the job trainings. We look at how much money was spent, and then we also just mention this. What is our success rate of people staying, 6 9 months or a year? So we factor all of it. And then also how many businesses actually keep coming back. That's also good too. Is like, so far we haven't had any, or at least I haven't. I don't know about my business is called Jason, but I haven't had any businesses call and say, this is a terrible program. So
That's what Joe's, everything is out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mentioned, price is about 225 on job. It's an average of $20. Got about 86 here. That's 2 years.
Yeah.
And about done a lot of things that gives us an extra. What would we spend it every?
Any other questions? We give a round of applause.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you and your time. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it. Good email. Brochures.
Oh, yeah.
Some other literature that we can, everyone participate. Contact with. We would greatly appreciate that. As for now,
Good to go.
anything else anyone wants to
Any
add?
last questions?
Think we're good.
Let's adjourn this thing.
I got it. Thank you. Sorry, guys, you're missing the coffee.
I can smell the wonderful coffee from you.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Thank you,
ahead.
guys.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the recording then. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.